Wiener, wiener, wiener dog. It's called the HALLO-Wiener. The HALLO-Wiener. All right, let's get ready to read the HALLO-Wiener. Ooh. I wonder if it's going to be scary. And this story's by Dav Pilkey. All right, let's see. All right, here we go. There was once a dog named Oscar who was half a dog tall and 1.5 dogs long. Because of his unusual shape and size, all the other dogs made fun of him. Wiener dog, wiener dog. They called him Wiener dog. Well, Oscar didn't like that a bit. Oscar's mother was no help either. Every morning when the dogs walked off to obedience school, get it? Obedience school? Oscar's mother stood in the front yard waving and calling out, "Farewell, my little Vienna sausage." And the other dogs would laugh. "Oh, did you hear that? She called him a Vienna sausage." Most of the time, Oscar was upset by all this. But not today. Today was Halloween, and Oscar was thinking about other things all day long at obedience school, and Oscar daydreamed about Halloween night, trick-or-treats, and scary costumes. Ooh. Ooh. He was thinking about scary costumes at school. Do you ever think about other things when you're at school? Ooh. Let's see. Okay, guys, we're working over there. When Oscar got home, he dashed upstairs to start working on his scary Halloween costume. But when he got to his room, a surprise was waiting on him. Look how excited he is. He's just kind of like, ooh. "Happy Halloween, darling, my little sausage link," said Oscar's mother. "I've made you a costume to wear for trick-or-treats." When Oscar saw the costume, he nearly fainted. Do you know what it could be? Do you think it's scary? Ooh, is it scary? Let's see. It was a giant hot dog bun, complete with mustard, and guess who was supposed to fit in the middle? Oscar did not want to hurt his mother's feelings, though. So he decided to wear the costume anyway. Wasn't that nice of Oscar? He didn't want to hurt his mom's feelings. Okay, boys and girls, we're listening. That night, all the dogs in the block gathered to show off their costumes. Everyone was looking quite scary. They were looking scary. Then Oscar showed up, looking quite frank. When the dogs saw Oscar in his silly costume, they howled with laughter. "Look at Oscar," they cried. "He really is a wiener dog." Poor Oscar. He was so embarrassed. "Wiener dog, wiener dog, wiener dog," they laughed, the other dogs. They all laughed, And they ran off to go trick-or-treating, and Oscar tried to keep up with the dogs, but his silly costume kept slowing him down. Look how they're laughing at Oscar. All night long, the other dogs hounded every treat they could get their paws on. So by the time poor little Oscar got to each house, there were no treats left. Soon trick-or-treating was over, and the dogs walked home past this spooky graveyard. Suddenly, this horrible hissing sound filled the air. The dogs stopped dead in their tracks. Ooh. Then out of the graveyard rose this ghastly monster, and the dogs screamed, "Oh!" They ran for their lives. They dropped their treats and jumped into the nearby pond. The monster moved closer. "Please don't eat us! Ruff, ruff, ruff! We're nice dogs! Please don't eat us!" cried the dogs. The monster yowled and hissed. "Boo-hoo, hoo! Boo-hoo, hoo!" sobbed the dogs. "We're scared!" The monster jumped up and down. "Somebody save us! Ruff, ruff! Hey! Somebody save us! Ruff, ruff, ruff! Somebody save us!" shrieked the dogs. Look, they're shrieking. They're scared. Just then, somebody showed up. And do you know who it was? It was Oscar. Because Oscar was so short, he saw something that the other dogs had not seen. "That's no monster," cried Oscar. And with a loud bark, ruff, 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 Oscar waddled to the rescue. Oscar chomped and tugged with all his might. And there, standing in the middle of the moonlight, was a couple of little ornery cats. "Help!" cried the cats. "We're being attacked by a giant frankfurter." And they ran off screaming, "Meow! Meow! Meow! What is that? Meow! Meow!" The dogs in the pool had seen the whole thing, and now it was their turn to be embarrassed. "We've been chased by a couple of cats," they moaned. But Oscar was a true friend. He leaped into the water and swam out to the dogs. Oscar's silly costume made a wonderful life raft, and the dogs climbed right on. "All aboard! All aboard," Oscar called, and the dog paddled back to shore. All the dogs paddled back to shore. And they got back to dry land, and all the dogs, you know what? They shared all their Halloween treats with Oscar. Because Oscar had been so brave, and the dogs changed his nickname because he was so brave. And you know what his new name was? Instead of Wiener Dog, they changed his name to Hero Sandwich. And from that night on, nobody ever made fun of Oscar again. Happy Halloween! Ooh, happy Halloween!